This is chapter number 3, ruling the countryside. This is chapter number 3. Coming to how was indigo cultivated. Now we have seen Neil or indigo, Indian indigo. It was very famous. How was it cultivated? Because in Europe, it was in high demand. So wherever it is possible, the Britishers want to cultivate it. They were trying to expand the area. So there are two types of indigo cultivation. First one is Nij. Nij, you can relate it with Niji. Niji means own, self. The second is Rayathi. You can, in Hindi it's called Rayathi. English, Rayathi you can say. So in Nij cultivation, the planter, the person who is doing this cultivation, he will produce this indigo in his own land. Okay? If he is directly controlling it, same control, same man. Okay? That is, he might have bought this land or he might have rented it or leased it from someone. Okay? Rented it or bought. These two things a planter will do. That is called Nij Kheti. Okay? It may be taken from say some zamindar, and now he has hired some laborers, he has employed certain laborers, and these are working. Nij, Niji, self, own. This is how you can remember. This is indigo cultivation, one type of this. We'll talk about Rayathi, but there was, before that, what was the problem in Nij and why this Rayathi came? So there was some problem. The first thing is that indigo can only be cultivated in the land which is fertile. That is ubjao zameen. If the land is not fertile, it has not that content, soil is not good, indigo cannot be grown. The problem was that the fertile land was already densely populated. That is, people were already living in high numbers. Densely they were there. Even if they get land, these planters, they get small lands scattered here and there. But we are talking about plantation. Plantation by itself means big land. Bade khet. So big land. So plantation is the term used by the big land for. Okay. Now there is one more thing, that the factory of indigo, most of the plantation was done and was supposed to be done near the factory, because indigo cultivation, harvest it and just send it to the factory, it is nearby. So most of the planter want the land which is nearby to the factory, just for the ease of making this indigo. This transportation cost can be reduced. But when they want to evict these people, because peasants were already there, nearby areas, near the factory, so they did forcefully try to evict them, khali karwaya. So now when somebody has land and you forcefully want to evict them, they are living there for years now. So that will lead to certain conflict and tension between the planters and the peasants. So whenever I'm talking about a big land, if big land is there, the mazdoors, the labor is also required in high numbers. For indigo plantation, Nij Kheti, the same time this number of laborers, they were working, they were doing cultivation of their own, that is rice cultivation. Because you can live without indigo, but you cannot live without rice. You have to eat rice, then only you can do Nij Kheti or any other kheti. Any cultivation. There is one more thing. Now for big land plantation, at that time no tractors were not there and big machines were not there. So the plow, hull and bullocks, bal, the male cow. Okay. So this hull and bal, plow and bullocks, they are needed for big lands. So this is I'm showing you, this is the hull, that is plough and this is the bale. So ploughs and bullocks are required. That is, the measurement unit of land at that time was bigha. Today also it's bigha. It is around 1/3 of hectare. Hectare is 100 by 100 meter. So 1/3 of the hectare was bigha. Now if you assume that for 1 bigha, 2 ploughs, 2 hull are required to do the cultivation, to prepare the soil, to till the land. Okay. For 1,000, because plantation means 1,000 bighas, 2,000 ploughs are required. How to get this number of plough and these bullocks? First of all, the planter has to buy them and then to maintain them. It was not possible. It is still a problem. Okay. Now, they can get a supply from peasants. But as we just said, peasants were already doing their rice cultivation at the same time when the cultivation of Nij Kheti or the indigo was going on. So now the plough and bullocks cannot be taken or rented or in any way be retrieved from these peasants who are doing the paddy cultivation PC. Okay. So these are problems, these are situations were there. So the Nij Kheti was only 25%. All the indigo cultivation, only 25% was from the Nij Kheti, Nij cultivation. But the 75% is coming from Rayathi system. Rayathi system. Okay. Rayat means the person who cultivate, Rayathi the land he has. So Rayathi system. Okay. Let us see the Rayathi also. We need to understand Rayathi also. I have given a difference of Nij and Rayathi also. If you see on the lower right corner. Let me tell you about Rayathi. Now under this system, the planters, they persuaded and forced the Riots. Who are Riots? They are Kisan, they are peasant, they are farmers. So the indigo planter, they forced the agreement. That is, the agreement at that time was called as Satta. Satta or Satta. So Satta agreement or a contract agreement between planter and the Rayathi, that is the farmer. Sometimes the farmer wouldn't agree. So they will force the headman, the village headman, to sign the contract on the behalf of these Riots. So they will have agreement with if not Rayat, then the headman, village headman. So this is Riots. Okay, that is why it is called Rayathi system. So the contract was, once you are in this contract, now the planter will give some advance money. It is not the free money. It is the money on interest basis. That is, they will give the cash in advance, but there will be a low rate of interest. For example, 100 they are giving 10% interest. So the farmer has to return back 110 rupees, say in month or 3 months or whatever they decide. Now the Kisan or peasant get happy. Oh, we are getting advances. So let's go here. Let's go and do this indigo plantation. They are giving us money. So all of them went for this agreement. That is, the agreement has one more clause, that 25% of the land, whichever Rayathi has taken this agreement, 25% minimum he has to grow indigo in his land. If he has 100 bigha, he has to do 25 bigha indigo plantation. And this was also there, that the planter will give seed, he will provide the seed, and along with some machines like drill, okay, these will be provided by planters. And the cultivator or the Rayathi work was that he is going to first prepare the soil, prepare the files to make it fertile, and sow the seed, sowing the seed of this indigo. And then once this is done, looking after the crop. So all these are the duty of Rayathi now. Okay. So this was the contract basically between indigo planter and the Rayathi. So if you see a picture, these are the certain workers harvesting indigo, and I'm taking you to early 19th century of Bengal. Now this picture, if you see, this is indigo plant, a factory you can say. So it's a factory. So indigo plant, that is the harvested plant, has come here in the factory. So niche cultivation and Rayathi, I try to give you kind of verses or difference. If you want to have a look, you can just have a look here, but most of the things I already told you. Okay, let me complete this, then we'll go to the how this kheti was done, cultivation was done, and production was done. So as I was telling, the indigo planter and the peasant or farmer. Now when the harvesting is done, when the pedawar is done, the harvesting, the Riots will give back or give the plants to the planters. Okay. So now the indigo planters, when they get this harvested content, they will give again the advances. That is, first of all, the peasant has to return 110, which he has already taken, and now he is eligible for next turn of loan. But the problem was the harvested indigo which they are giving, they are just getting 10 rupees, 20 rupees, 30 rupees like this, very less. These are all examples. So when they are only getting this much of money, how can they return 110 and now they are eligible for 100 also? They will take 100 also again for a loan. So now they are in a debt trap. They cannot return the money. They cannot return the money, and they are taking money also. Let me again tell you. First of all, the indigo planter was saying you just have to do indigo plantation. Okay. Now indigo podha or indigo plant, the roots are deep inside the land, and once it's deep inside, it will take out all the fertility, all the nutrients from the soil. So once the indigo plantation is done, they cannot do these farmers, they cannot have rice cultivation here. As I said, rice is for eating, indigo is just for dyeing the clothes. Indigo is not for eating. So the indigo was only done because of profit. Now all these problems, now you understood that there will be some problem, there will be some blue rebellion. Okay, but before that, let me tell you that how this indigo is produced. So how the factory looks, what happens there. So first of all, this picture, if you understand, you will know how it is done. So now here you see vat. Vat is a tank, hod, tank, and just below this we have this second tank, which is below this. You cannot see the hole because the angle is such that. So there is one level above. So now the harvested plant which are brought, the leaves are taken off, and these are put in the fermenting vat. So this is the first tank. Here indigo plant and the pattiyan, that is the leaves, are put here in the hot water, and these are left for fermentation. You can say sadne ke liye. Not sadna, but fermentation basically. Once this fermentation is done, all the bubbles will come. These leaves are taken off. These are taken off. And now the liquid which is left, now this is sent to the lower level of vat, and this is called a beater vat. Now here beating is done for multiple hours, multiple days. Okay, this is done in the lower tank, right? Once this is done, you see this is a man. It's being shown that he has to work more than 8 hours. He is just beating through this vat beater, and once they are beating, and the water becomes first green and then will become blue. Finally, now they will put some lime water, chune ka pani. Lime water, when they are putting here, the below portion will have the papdi, that is the solid part, and the liquid will be drained off. So there will be a sediment of basically the indigo pulp. So this is how the indigo is formed, and finally it's being sold and wherever it is to be sent. Now let me tell you about Neel Vidroh, Blue Rebellion. So you have known the problems, you have known why this Blue Rebellion came up or tried to came up, because it was being stopped. So everyone was saying, because company wanted profit, they wanted everyone to grow indigo. So in 1859, what happened? Thousands of riots. I was talking about Rayathi system, right? So thousands of Rayat, specifically I'm talking about Bengal, they said they refused to grow indigo. They said, no, we will not grow indigo. Okay, they have to pay some taxes. They said, and rents. They say, no, no rents we are giving now. And all these riots, they attacked these indigo factories, and they were heavily armed with swords, spears, bows, arrows. At that time, whatever armaments they get, they just fought with it. Women also, they brought all the home utensils, kitchen utensils. They were also fighting. And anyone who is chori chupe, working with the planters, any link with the planters they have, he was socially boycotted. That is, hukka pani band kar dete the. And those agents, at that time, the indigo planter agents were called as gomashtas. These were basically the agents of planters who were actually recruiting these rayat or having actual agreement with the rayats. So when they came to collect rent, they were beaten up. Gomashtas were beaten up. Okay. So these zamindars or these big people have lathials. Lathials means people who have lathi or wooden stick, and they beat people with this. Their only work is the muscle power. So now the riots, they were not afraid of these lathials. Even the lathials were beaten up by these riots, because they were in so much distress. These riots, they were against anyone who is related to indigo. Okay. So 1859, the peasants and farmer, they understood that the local zamindar and the village headman, Mukhiya, they are also going to support them, and they are supporting them actually. They have their own reasons, but the peasants were supported in the back by zamindar, because zamindars, what background things they have? First thing is, they were urging the riots to resist the planter. Why? Because the planter were taking all of the land, so the power of zamindar is coming down. Because indigo planter power was growing, and that zamindar doesn't want. They were unhappy with the increasing power of these planters, because they are getting the planter were getting money also, and they're getting powerful. So that is how they basically instigated the riots. Okay, so they thought, these riots thought that the British, they will support them. Because what happened in 1857, just 2 years back, there was a great revolt, Vidroh, 1857 ka Vidroh, the revolt of 1857. It was a big rebellion, and finally this was controlled 1857. But the British doesn't want that 1859, just after 2 years, one more rebellion should come. One more rebellion, that is called the Blue Rebellion, should come. So what happened? See here, he is Ashley Eden. Now Ashley Eden, all things were happening. Government sent some people to the land, and everyone saw what is the thing. And finally, in Barasat means the rain time, Magistrate Ashley Eden, he actually issued a notice, that is a kind of direction, that riots, the notice or this was very important, This notice was about that the riots cannot be compelled, cannot be pressurized to accept to do the indigo contracts. Previously, it was all without the consent of riots. Okay, sometimes some riots would also agree, but mostly riots were forced. So riots, because of this notice, everyone thought that the Queen Victoria has declared the indigo not to be sown. Okay, everyone was thinking that the British are with them, and Britain and British people were really worried. Okay, and these indigo planters were being beaten up because of the riot. So the government has to call the military, Sena, to call the military to protect these planters, because they were being assaulted for various reasons which I just told you. Finally, British thought, let us stop this, and they set up a commission. Janch Ayog, they set up a commission to inquire what is going on, how the system of indigo production is taking place. Now, commission, when they gave the report, they found that the planters are really guilty. The real victims are the riots, and they criticize how planters, what are the methods they use to do this cultivation through the riots. So all this criticism was from commission. Okay, and this work is not at all profitable for riots, they declared. Okay, but one thing was done. The commission made this decision that okay, today whatever contract you are in, that is the riots, commission said complete this contract what you have right now, but after that you can always refuse to do the production of indigo. No one will force you, right? Now after this small revolt, this blue rebellion, it was Bengal, so all this indigo production flopped, collapsed because of all the reason I told you. Now planters, because European, they still want this good quality of indigo from India. Okay, and the discovery of synthetic dyes were also going on. Kritrim dye color. So European, they still wanted it. Okay, synthetic dye was going on, business was going on, but still indigo was required. So that is how this in Bengal or wherever this indigo cultivation was affected. Okay, but still they expanded this work in Bihar. So these peasants and farmers in Bihar, they were doing indigo cultivation because of these planters. So one of the planter, peasant, he went to Mahatma Gandhi ji. Mahatma Gandhi has just returned from South Africa, and he said, he persuaded Mahatma Gandhi, please come to Champaran, come here and see the plight and distress and the problems of cultivators. So 1970, this question is always asked. In 1917, it marked the beginning of Champaran movement against the indigo planters. Against whom? The indigo planters. And finally, this Champaran Satyagraha was a success, and this marked the first success of Mahatma Gandhi, and that is how we later on got the independence, because of all these satyagrahas. Now let me tell you about West Indies. I told you about Saint Domingue. So indigo was cultivated in various places, not only in India. So early 18th century French missionary John Baptiste Labarde, he traveled to Caribbean islands, West Indies. Now if you see, these are different stages of indigo production in the French slave plantation. So if you see there, slave worker putting the indigo plant into the settler vat. Another worker is churning the liquid. He has a mechanical churner in a vat. Two workers are carrying this indigo pulp hung up in bag to be dried pulp. They are taking. Two others are mixing their indigo pulp. So all this work is going on, and in the center, if you see, there is a person which is a planter, and he is supervising the slave workers. These are all slaves, ghulam. Okay. So this is all about this topic. Thank you so much. Take care of yourself.